me. But enough about me. This is about you. This is about you connecting to God tonight, and this is about you connecting with each other. That's why we're here. New friends, new relationships. So, we are going to create some opportunities tonight to build community, to build friendships, and we also want to get sort of a realistic idea of what community is and what place it should have in our lives. So, I have a pop quiz for you. Don't raise your hand, just think about these questions. Question number 1, if I say the word community, do you think of it more as a lifeline or a luxury? A lifeline or a luxury? Question number 2, if I say community, do you think of it more as essential or expendable? Now, wherever you start out tonight on those continuums is fine, but I hope by the end of the night, you are in the camp where you think it's a little more of a lifeline, a little more essential. We are all different. I look around this room, lots of differences. Now, some of us, when we heard about this community, this get-together, this social thing, we were excited, and we were already thinking about what we're going to wear, what time we're going to show up so we can maximize our people time. Those are the extroverts in the room. And then there's others of us who heard the same words, community, social, party, get together, and if you didn't break out in hives, you started immediately feeling exhausted. I have to go meet new people. I have to talk to people. I don't know if I'll like them. I don't know if they'll like me. Those would be the introverts in the crowd. But the nice thing is, God made us all, and whether you're more on the introvert side or the extrovert side, there's a place for you in community, especially in God's community. So I want to tell you a story about my daughter. When she was in high school, she was a softball nut. She still is. She's coaching now. And she was at a small school. We couldn't field a softball team unless we merged with girls from another school. That does not make for good team chemistry, a bunch of teenage girls who don't know each other. So as the team mom, I had the brilliant idea that we would have the whole softball team over to our house, and they would all be in groups in the kitchen, and they were going to cook different parts of a meal, and we'd have a meal together. So the minivans start pulling up, and the kids start getting out, and you could tell the introverts walking in the door. They're the ones that come in kind of sheepishly looking to see, scanning the room. Do I know anyone here? Is there anyone I might want to know here? And they immediately go to the island so they can look down at the paper that has their cooking assignments on it. And then there was Molly. Molly bounded in the door, a bundle of energy. She talked a mile a minute. She was so happy to be with people, any people. And so she and Liz got the guacamole assignment. So everybody's getting set up at their locations in the kitchen, and pretty soon I hear from Molly, oh, Mrs. Crane, do you have any of the little cloves, the garlic that we could peel and chop, make it and put it in? Yes, Molly, sure, here it is. I had it in the fridge, so I got it out for her. And she's giving Liz instructions. Okay, Liz, so if you chop it just like this, it'll work better, and maybe you can mush it a little bit. And then I went to help somebody else, and pretty soon I hear, oh, Mrs. Crane, do you have limes? Real limes, so we can put fresh lime juice in our guacamole. Yes, Molly, I do. Here you go. Finally, I had a chance to step away and look around the kitchen, and it was the most amazing thing. And every little station, the groups were talking, they were cooking together, they were giggling a little bit, some of them. That was a good thing. And even better, when we sat down at the big table and we had this meal that they had prepared pieces of, there were conversations. There were stories being shared. There was laughter. And the amazing thing was, this was a starting point. This was a foundational moment for this group, because when they showed up on the softball field for practice the next week, they had something in common. They had a shared experience to draw from. They could joke about Molly squeezing lime juice all over the place, and they joked about having to use spoons to eat their no-bake cheesecake because it didn't turn out the way it was supposed to. But it didn't matter. They had a shared experience to build from. And you know what? This Women's Connection gathering is a shared experience for us to build from. So in the future, after you trade phone numbers tonight, when you get together to go on hikes or go walking or go to a concert or whatever it is you do together, you're going to have a starting point, some shared experience. So that is a good thing. But let's focus on our big question tonight. Why community? Maybe the introverts are thinking, why bother with community? But why community? I'm going to give you 3 answers to that question tonight. And full disclosure, the last answer has 3 points to it. So first of all, the first answer is, we're wired for community. We are literally, it's in our DNA. And I say that because we are made in the image of God, and God exists in community. If you look on the slide, you're going to see a verse. This is Genesis 1, verse 26. After God had done all this creating, he got to people, he said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness. Now you might think it odd that God is using plural pronouns, us and our, because after all, he's God. But he's not just one, he's 3 in 1. It's like the bonus God, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And it's the amazing thing. They are all in perfect fellowship, all in perfect unity, all bringing God's purposes to fruition, but just working a little bit differently together. And here's what I mean. It's easier to give you an example than to try and explain it. So the Father, he's the planner. In human terms, when it comes to creation, he would have done the spreadsheets, he would have drawn out the plans. He's the planner. And then the Son is the one who goes forth from the Father to execute creation. He's literally, when God said, let there be light, he's literally the Word going forth. Jesus is going forth from the Father. And I know that because if you go look at John, the 1st chapter, it starts, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Jesus is the Word that was spoken at creation to bring things to life. And so where's the Holy Spirit? Genesis tells us the Holy Spirit is hovering over the waters. But that word hovering, it's a beautiful picture of a mama bird actually hovering, actually brooding over her eggs in her nest, nurturing new life. If you think about creation, the Holy Spirit was doing that, hovering over the water, kind of nurturing new life. So that's how they all work together, 3 in 1. And we are made in the image of this 3 in 1 God. So we are literally wired for community.